Jai Hind. I am Cadet Ved Garge and today I'll be speaking on Kashmiri Pandit Exodus. So firstly, what is Exodus? Exodus refers to the mass movement of people from one place to another. This Exodus is about Kashmiri Pandits. Kashmiri Pandit was a minority group living in the area of Kashmir. The Kashmiri Pandits were highly intellectual class of people, and maximum they were teachers or they were either working as bureaucrats in their state. So, actually the genesis of Kashmiri Pandit Exodus lies in the politics of Kashmir. By 1990, Kashmiri Pandits were the largest community of IDP, that is, internally displaced people. They were forced to live like refugees in their own country. So, what about politics? So, the one prominent figure of in politics of Kashmir was Sheikh Abdullah. Sheikh Abdullah was Chief Minister of Kashmir in 1980s, and especially in 1980s his government was not that stable. So he started giving hatred speech and he started focusing towards Islamization of Kashmir. In 1982 he died. In 1983 elections took place and his son Farooq Abdullah, the head of NCP, became the Chief Minister of Kashmir. The oath was administered to him by Jagmohan Malhotra, the governor of Kashmir. Now, Farooq Abdullah's government also did not have people's mandate. Indira Gandhi was not at all happy with the governance of Farooq Abdullah, and hence, just 8 months down the term, political coup was organized against him. Some important MLAs of NCP and brother-in-law of Farooq Abdullah, Gul Muhammad Shah, who was another prominent leader in NCP, organized this coup with help of Indira Gandhi. After which, the Chief Minister of Kashmir became Gul Shah. So again, after 2 years, the administration was quite good, but at the same time, in around 1986, the Ayodhya issue was also raised, and hence there were riots all over the country, and the Hindus were targeted, and in Kashmir especially, Kashmiri Pandits were targeted. So he started giving hatred speech. He was totally talking about the discrimination, prejudice, and how the Kashmiri Pandits are not a boon towards the Kashmir area. So his speeches were ignored and no legal action were taken, even though he was spreading the hatred. So 2 years down the term, Rajiv Gandhi was not happy with his governance. So he decided to reappoint Farooq Abdullah as the Chief Minister of Kashmir again. So in 1986, Rajiv Farooq Accord was signed, in which the terms were laid down to reappoint Farooq Abdullah as Chief Minister of Kashmir. Now I'll speak on March 1987 Kashmir elections. This election was a turning point in history of Kashmir. It was contested by NCP, that is National Conference, and Congress together, and their opponent was MUF, Muslim United Front. MUF was an organization which consisted of people not happy with Indian government, and the elections were contested, and it is said that they were highly rigged. Naturally, NCP and Congress won the elections and MUF got only 4 seats. It is also the fact that some leaders of the MUF who contested the elections later became most wanted terrorists of our country. An example is the head of Hizbul Mujahideen, Saeed Saluddin, and his campaign manager was Yasin Malik, who later on became the chairman of JKLF, Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front, and he also was a terrorist. He also has participated into killings of Kashmiri Pandits. Now I will speak on Islamization of Kashmir. So there were 3 prominent reasons. First was Afghan Jihad, second was the Islamic Revolution which took place in Iran, and the third was spread of Wahhabism from rich oil nations of Gulf via Pakistan. And an ardent supporter of Wahhabism ideology was none other than then President of Pakistan, Zia ul Haq, and his aim was to propagate it through Kashmir as well. So there were two main pro-independence organizations in Kashmir. First was JKLF, Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front, and second was Jamaat-e-Islami Kashmir. All the operations of these two organizations were totally anti-India. So what exactly was the scenario in between 1987 and 1990? So in 1987 elections, MUF was defeated and hence there were widespread riots and radicalization. Militants openly killed anyone who supported pro-India policies. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Kashmiri Pandits was a class of studious, intellectual and very intelligent people, and hence maximum either they were teachers or either they were handling some portfolios in administration of Kashmir, and hence they were targeted specifically. In 1988, an insurgency was set in with the demand of Islamic rule, total Islamic rule in Kashmir by JKLF. At the same time, the motto of Relieve, Salive, Galive was raised, which means that either you convert to Islam, you leave the land, or you die. Now, what was Pakistan's role in this? Benazir Ali Bhutto, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, she was the only person who was giving the hatred speeches in Pakistan and was promoting jihad. There is documented evidence in the form of video clips wherein she is openly promoting jihad and militancy in Kashmir. It was under her reign that various youth took up arms and they were trained to kill innocent people in Kashmir. Now, there were many atrocities going on in Kashmir and there are some prominent killings which took place. Firstly, in 1989, it was the murder of Pandit Tikalai Taplu. He was an advocate by profession and he was leader of BJP at that time. Second was the murder of a judge named Ganju, and he was murdered in open market because he had sentenced one JKLF leader to death. Also, one important act which took place then was the Home Minister Mufti Muhammad Said's daughter Rubaiya Said was kidnapped by some terrorists in demand of releasing 5 terrorists from jail, and their demand was accepted. As this demand was accepted, it motivated the terrorists to create more terror in Kashmir that way. Mufti Muhammad Said, member of VP Singh government, advised the Prime Minister to appoint Jagmohan Malhotra as the governor of Kashmir again. On 19th January 1990, Jagmohan reached Jammu but could not reach Srinagar because of some inclement weather. On the same day, Farooq Abdullah resigned as Chief Minister. Now, there was totally paralyzed government wherein there was no president or governor's rule, neither there was an acting chief minister, and hence Kashmiri Pandits were totally terrorized. In 1980, local Urdu newspapers published a press release given by the Hijal ul Muhajjiddin asking all the Kashmiri Pandits to leave the valley immediately. Masked men carrying AK-47 carried out military marches throughout Kashmir and threatened Kashmiri Pandits to leave Kashmir immediately. There were sporadic firing by the militants and the houses of Kashmiri Pandits were bombed, and hate speeches was a regular affair in Kashmir that time. 19 January 1990, the Terror Night. 19 January 1990 is considered as the most terrifying night in the history of Kashmir. It was the day when matter came up to the head. There were highly provocative, communal and threatening slogans raised through the masjids across the valley. Speeches were made extolling Pak and supremacy of Islam in Kashmir, and Kashmiri Pandits were asked to leave. Women were raped and brutally murdered, and even children were shot dead. Kashmiri Pandit community decided to leave in whatever transport they could manage. On 13th February 1990, Lassa Kol, the station director of Doordarshan channel, was shot dead because he was supporting pro-India policies. The exodus and these killings extended up to March and April. Atrocities continued. According to the account given by the survivors, at least 700 Kashmiri Pandits have been murdered. Only 800 Kashmiri Pandit families are living in Kashmir, while 1 to 3 lakh have fled already. Now, some part of Kashmiri Pandits were living in very big houses, which were either ancestral or they had buyed from their savings. But after they left Kashmir, all these houses were occupied by the local Muslim people, and they were living there like squatters. So, how was the life of a Kashmir Pandit as a refugee? A class of highly intellectual, studious, and intelligent middle class community was forced to live in makeshift tents and in a very filthy camp area in Jammu, also known as Jagati camp. Now, what is the solution of all this? Unity, unity, and unity is only the solution. All the Sanatani Hindus need to get united against this reign of terror, or maybe in coming years the same scenario may repeat again. An important step taken by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government was abrogation of Article 370, which gave justice to many Kashmiri Pandits. But for those who have died and for those who have suffered, justice awaits. Thank you. Jai Hind.